This is gonna be a weird video today. I'm just gonna let you know right off the bat. So today's video is not gonna be super positive and or like edited. I'm literally just sitting down. I just ate breakfast and I wanted to film this for a couple of reasons. I had a Sephora haul that I had filmed 2 weeks ago, as well as like a hair tutorial that I really wanted to edit and get up, and I could not get myself to edit it and get it together after everything that's happened this week. And if you don't know or you don't follow me on Instagram, unfortunately, the first week of November, Eliza and Bailey got into a fight through a doorway, which is super weird for their dynamic. And I truly believe that Eliza, because she was so sick that day, she was not eating, she had thrown up, she had started her medication for the heartworm again, which means a lot of heavy antibiotics, a lot of heavy steroids, and I know that that can play a role into just their reactivity, their aggression, and so on and so forth. But they got into a fight. Bailey got bit, I got bit, Bailey had to go to the emergency vet. She didn't need stitches, but it was pretty traumatic for her mentally and myself, obviously. I don't know if any of you have ever been in the middle of a dog fight, but it was truly one of the most scary things I've ever experienced, and I've had dogs forever. And so I'm sure if you do follow me on Instagram, you probably know that my mental health has pretty much been in the garbage. And shortly thereafter, the first fight, about a week later, I was taking them on a walk together because the walks have basically been the only thing that I could do together to kind of help build their trust back up, since both of them are fairly nervous and scared of each other after the first incident. Well, a neighbor who has a super aggressive long-haired pointer, I just knew this was gonna go to shit the second that I saw him, and he started lunging, barking super aggressively, like going psychotic, trying to pull the owner across the street towards the two of them. And they reacted because Bailey is a reactive dog, as well as Eliza. And unfortunately, because tension and energy and anxiety had already been so elevated from the first incident, they started reacting, and then in turn, they redirected on each other, which caused a second fight, which was even worse than the first one. And Eliza got bit really deep underneath her eye. She needed stitches. I got bit in my elbow pretty bad through layers of clothing, and it still like somewhat punctured my skin, 3 layers, and bruised all over my elbow and upper arm. And it was so, like, I cannot even tell you the last time that I have felt this discouraged, disheartened, just like an ultimate feeling of emptiness and sadness. And as somebody who struggles with anxiety and depression, this is something that I don't typically talk about a ton on my channel for a couple of reasons, but one of them being that people always like to say like, oh, you're seeking attention because like mental health, you know, that's fine. You know, people are they're gonna say whatever they're gonna say anyways. But I decided actually today that I was going to just make this video, talk about what's going on, talk about the things that I'm dealing with mentally, because I know that I don't really talk about it a ton on my channel. And this experience between the dogs and myself has caused me to spiral into a super deep depressive episode that I'm really struggling to get myself out of, and I'm just going to be honest. So I couldn't bring myself to edit and work on the Sephora video or the hair video. It just did not seem authentic. I was getting very frustrated and very upset, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna be honest and I'm gonna talk about it. So here we are in today's video. I apologize for it kind of being a little bit gray, if you will. I don't mean for it to be that way, but I'm just being honest, and I want to talk about the unfortunate side of dealing with anxiety and depression when something like this happens that I unfortunately cannot control and cannot fix myself. So to give you kind of like a brief rundown, I have been seeing psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, whatever, since I was a little kid, and I've always struggled with anxiety. I did not realize that depression was really a part of that until I got to be like 19 or 20, and I started like, from what I understand and what my now therapist kind of talks with me about, is when you have both and you are extremely hyper aware and hypersensitive and hyper vigilant, you can almost recognize when your anxiety is starting to catapult into just a horrible like downward spiral. You're going from 0 to 100, and it almost, in my personal experience, it almost feels like an out-of-body experience that I cannot control. And then I will become increasingly sad and upset with myself and become very self-loathing and be like, oh my God, why are you like this? Like, just get it together. Why can't you control your thoughts? Why can't you control your emotions? And that's kind of when the depression side of things takes over a little bit, and I just get extremely sad and extremely like I don't want to feel these feelings anymore. So backing up towards when I started noticing that I was dealing with the both of them, I was trying to find a medication that would help level out these feelings, because when I was younger, kind of getting into like 19, 20, it was much more erratic, and I would not want to leave the house. I wouldn't want to be around people. I called out of work constantly. And so I started on Zoloft, Prozac. I can't remember which one was first or if the generic versions, but either way, I started on one of like the older medications, and like I think it was Prozac. And I never really talked about it openly because I was super embarrassed about it, because I felt like there was something wrong with me, and I was having to medicate myself. And in this scenario with that medication in particular, it was a no-go for me. Now, take this with a grain of salt because everybody responds to SSRIs differently. However, the Prozac for me made me feel like a complete zombie, and like I felt like my eyes were glassed over all the time. I didn't care. I had a lot of suicidal feelings, which I had never felt before. So it was a long journey, okay, trying a lot of different medications, a lot of different types of therapy, EMDR therapy, which I've kind of touched on my channel, like here and there, and getting me to where I am right now, which has been on a steady dose of Lexapro for the last, I'm 27, for the last 5.5 years. So with that being said, I'm typically pretty well managed in terms of the anxiety and depression side of things. However, I struggle with handling very traumatic events because of my past, because of just the way that my brain is wired, and I cannot figure out how to get myself out of like a downward spiral that I'm in, which is currently where I'm at right now. Like I blamed myself for everything. I felt like I was a terrible dog parent. I felt like I failed them and they don't trust me anymore. I felt like I don't trust them, and because I can't obviously communicate with them, it has brought on such a heightened state of anxiety for me, because I am constantly in a hyper vigilant state of watching every single move that they're making. Are their tails pointed up? Are their ears forward? Are their eyes soft? Are their eyes staring? Like, I am just driving myself to a point of insanity, and it is affecting me mentally. And because of this, I do share a lot of my life, obviously, on social media. And so with that comes the people who are then going to interject their opinions about this scenario, which I am already beating myself up over, questioning everything, feeling extremely anxious and depressed over. And I have gotten comments such as this. I'll just leave this one here for you to read. Now, typically I don't like to address this scenario and put them on blast and go, spending all this energy and time on them because they don't deserve it. However, I felt it was important to discuss this in this video, talking about mental health and where I'm going moving forward. And the social media side of things is just, it's making this extremely difficult. Now, I know there are some people that are gonna be like, well, you put your life on social media, so that's what you get. Okay, fair enough. However, some of these people are incredibly, I would venture to say sociopathic and just bizarre. And part of me knows that. However, given everything I've just explained to you about the current state of my anxiety, depression, and mental health as a whole, these things are not good for me right now. And even though I know this person made this comment to hurt me, that was the sole purpose of it, and to really hit me where it hurts, they succeeded. And I am not going to lie and be like, oh, I don't care what they think, because in this scenario, this is just where my mental health is. It is trash. I am having an extremely hard time sleeping. I'm having a hard time eating. I am not in my normal state of mind and functioning. So these types of things are making everything way worse and just exhausting for me. I am not making this video to complain, to be like, oh, woe is me, petty, when I make YouTube videos and everyone's being mean. No, not the case at all. I just wanted to be honest with where I am at mentally, because it is not a good place right now. And I am having an extremely difficult time trying to figure out how to get myself out of it. Talking through it for me personally is helpful, because I can get it off my chest and try to like form, you know, ways that make sense to me, even if they might not make sense to other people. But I just wanted to put it out there, because this is not where I would have hoped to be at this point right now. And I don't even know where I was going with that comment. As you can see, I'm very like discombobulated with this. I guess I am giving you, number one, if you have ever gone through something like this, or you are somebody who struggles with anxiety and depression, it is normal, for lack of a better term, for these types of events to impact you more than it would the average person. So sometimes people comment on my stuff and they're like, oh, goals, oh, this, you know, whatever. And I just want to kind of like bring that back down to reality and make it known that like I'm not goals. I'm not like have my life together, my shit together mentally at all. And I am struggling right now. And so if my videos are kind of like all over the place, if my posts are all over the place and I am lashing out at haters more so than normal, this is why. And it's okay right now. Like there's really nothing that I can do at this current moment that is making me like feel better. I think this is one of those things that there's no answer to, especially with the dogs. Like there's nothing I can do. I am doing absolutely everything in my power to rehabilitate them back to where they were before, but there's no rule book for this. Just like parenting, there's no like, if you do this, then this happens, and you need to do this for X amount of time and then this happens. That's not the case with animals. And so that is primarily why I'm struggling, because I don't know like what the next steps are. But as a whole, I am just feeling extremely down, for lack of a better term, about all of this. And it is affecting my mental health. It's affecting my physical health. And I just don't want to seem like, oh, everything's fine. Like here's a, you know, hair tutorial, because it's just not right now. Will I, you know, edit and post those at a later time? Yes, but I just wanted to be honest and real and let you know that this is where I'm at right now. And yeah, so that is why today's Monday video is not an actual video. It is more or less an explanation, I guess, as to why I am just the way I am right now. And I know that talking about my mental health is not something I do a ton on YouTube, because I'm going to be honest, the people on YouTube sometimes are way worse than Instagram. But it is just the truth, and that's where I'm at. So I just wanted to kind of update you on everything that had happened and just be honest with the fact that I'm struggling right now, and that's okay. And hopefully I will have some improvements in the next couple of weeks. But as of right now, it's not feeling so great. So, all right, that is all the blabbering I'm going to do. If you listen to this video all the way through, thank you so much. And I do want to also say that the supportive comments and the people, whether you've been here since the beginning or you're newer, I appreciate them from the bottom of my heart. Like people that are letting me know that they've been through this, or they understand, or they see me, that is so helpful for me right now. So I do want to thank those people. But for the other ones, it's not great right now. So anyways, that's all I have for you in today's video. I'm sorry that it is kind of sad and like just, I don't even know if any of it made sense. I just kind of sat down and word vomited, and that's that. So I do love you guys. I appreciate you so much. And thank you for being patient with me during this like weird time with them. And those of you that know me know that my dogs are literally my entire life. So maybe some people are like, why does she care so much? They're just dogs. To me, they really are my children. So that's all I got in this video. I love you guys so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video on a much more positive note.